Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. Andy and Caleb here with you. About 45 more minutes left in today's show. Thank you so much for all of you out there being with us today. Again, we are brought to you each and every day by Mortgage Pro, the Eric McKinley team. They are saving people thousands of dollars each and every year on their home mortgage. Give them a call today. They know this business backwards and forwards, and they are always looking out for your best interest. So it's 256-397-0248, 256-397-0248 if you are in the market to refinance. JD says, did you say no pods? Yes, no pods. You know, the idea of breaking the conference into 4 divisions, so to speak, quote unquote, that is not, you know, that's out now.
So it'd be hard to determine SEC, you know, who gets the SEC championship, tiebreakers, and all that. I think if you did that,
it would. So we're talking about essentially, you know, again, no divisions, but breaking it up into halves. In that you have an upper echelon and a lower echelon as far as if you went with the 3 permanent and 6 rotators. Now, if you went with the, and again, you break it up into the 2 halves. What if you went with the 1 permanent? Clearly, I guess that would be Auburn and Alabama would be the permanent. So Auburn would lose every year Georgia. Now, you would get them every other year, I guess. But Alabama would lose Tennessee every year. But I mean,
and LSU every year.
But you would only have 8 conference games, and you would have that 4th out-of-conference game to schedule for.
I think it's time
whatever.
to move to non-conference. I mean, you're gonna have 16 teams in the conference. You play non-conference games. That's the way I look at it. I mean, if we're gonna keep expanding, then you got to expand the schedule.
Well, Big Ten's moved to 9. Pac-12.
Yeah, everybody's moved to 9. I mean, I think ACC's at 9. Yeah, ACC's at 9. So. I mean, and, you know, you can look at it and go, oh, it's been working for – it's going to work no matter what. We're the best conference in football. We're the best conference. We're going to beat everybody. I mean, so it's going to work. I mean, they're going to expand this thing to – I think you're going to see a 12-team football playoff is what you're going to end up seeing. It's how many are in the NFL right now, or it may be 14 now in the NFL with the added – they added a wild card, but still – I think you're going to see a 12-team playoff. You're going to see the top 4 get a bye. You're going to see 5 play 12 and do all that. Then it'll be an 18 playoff. If you get 12 teams, you're going to have 3 or 4 SEC teams in it every single year, no matter what. And that extra conference game is only going to help the strength of schedule. It's only going to help the argument that, hey, Auburn had to play all these teams, and, you know, they're sitting at maybe number 14 in the AP poll, but we look at it and we think they got, you know, the number 6 strength of schedule, and we're going to put them in at that 12 spot because they went through this grueling SEC and got through it with a winning record and are sitting there at 10-2 or 10-3 or whatever it be. So I think it'll do nothing but just help all these teams.
If they were serious about some of the discussions yesterday, you could have it where if you did that 3 permanent and you ended up with like a top 4 at the end of the year to play for the SEC title in a mini playoff. Now that would even be more games to add.
That's my argument too. We're doing all this crap, player safety, targeting, all this. Let's add games. Let's add. You know, I mean, so are we really doing all this for player safety? I mean, that's the question that I have, because we talk about that, but then we want to add games. We want to add an NFL game to the schedule. We want to make them play on Thursday night and then come back and, you know, or play on Sunday night and then come back and play on Thursday night. And are we really doing this for player safety, or is that just your argument to try to make the game look safer?
Well, I'm not sure we've done anything as far as player safety is concerned. Now, I mean, targeting, I think that's probably helped to some degree, but as far as the games, when it comes down to it,
targeting has helped in the sense of you see players now. There's no junior Rose Green hits anymore, like the guy on Georgia. Okay, those are out of the game. But then that's my problem with still having the targeting rule where ejecting people is nobody's going in there with a malicious intent to take someone's head off anymore. So why are we ejecting guys from the game because they bump helmets on the field? Like for Auburn this year against Penn State, there's no way that you should get ejected for that. Against Mississippi State, there's no way that you should get ejected for that. He's not going in to take his head off. They bumped helmets. You wear helmets for a reason.
There's still a couple that.
There's a couple
guys
sometimes.
Come in. Smoke Monday tried to take the guy's head off.
Yeah, Smoke Monday should have been ejected. Yeah, but those are the and you know what? We should have something in place where we look at it and we go, hey, look, that was malicious intent, and you can see it. Any of us with 2 eyes can see when someone's going in with malicious intent.
I don't think
when someone's not.
I think that makes them nervous to try to determine malicious intent. I think that nobody wants to be in that booth to say, yes, there was intent there, because it's difficult to judge.
But we're still punishing other guys who aren't,
agree.
and that's the problem that I have. And we're if it's in the second half, you're now you can't play the first half of the next game, which has nothing to do with the game you got ejected from. And it just, we've adapted with certain things. We've got to adapt with this rule. It's been in place for 10 years. It's kind of served its purpose. Now you got to adapt a little bit with it. And so, that's what I have with that. But, with this, go to non-conference games. Let's play more SEC games. You got more teams coming in. I'm all for at least with the other setup, you're playing everybody within the conference within a 4-year period, which is what we absolutely have to get back to. But if you add another conference game, you keep some of these other games. There's Alabama fans I know that live up in Huntsville that want to keep that Tennessee game. They do hate Tennessee more because you live around more Tennessee fans. Yeah. Me being an Alabama fan, I don't like Auburn as much because I'm around all y'all all the time, and y'all don't like us as much because you're around. That's the way it is. If there's some Alabama fans in Mobile that hate LSU more because they're around more LSU fans down there. So there's certain rivalries that you want to keep within this that if you do it the other way, they're not going to be playing every single year. And I don't know that I'm on board with that.
The Iron Bowl is good for college football.
Oh, the Iron Bowl has to stay. Yeah.
Alabama, Tennessee, I'm not sure anybody, I know not as near as many people care nationally about that game. So
and it's the same with Auburn and Georgia.
That's why, it's true. John says, will Auburn get to any baseball today? We'll see. It probably that game gets played, but it may be the only one today.
Ty, I got a feeling they're going to start it probably about 2 o'clock, and it's going to end up getting some rain at about 4, and then they'll finish at about 7, and that's going to be the only game that gets played at Hoover today.
Ty says, I like the 9 conference games. Auburn got a good non-conference future schedule, and CBS announced today Auburn-Penn State is 2:30 game. That is true. We'll bring that up a little bit later.
Good pick.
Ed says, will the upper and lower divisions be based on what your power brokers spend on your NIL? If so, put Tennessee in the upper and move Auburn to the lower. Fair point. We got to take another break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the Auburn Blitz right after this.